Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Court is in session, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes, another edition of this wonderful show where we try and give a voice to the voiceless. I appreciate you guys for joining me today, man. It's great to be with you. I'm a little tired, had a rough night last night, working extra hours. It is what it is. It's how the job goes. But we're here, and as promised, we're going to do part 2 of our reaction to EWU, Explore With Us, their mini documentary of the Madeline Soto case. And I got to tell you, man, somebody said it in the chat, and I agree 1000% without me having any facts to bear this up. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears to me that EWU paid that large sum of money that was floating around on the internet that the Osceola County, Orange County, and Osceola County District Attorney's Office was floating, that they required in order to release that next document dump of material in the Madeline Soto case. They were saying they needed like what, $15,000 or $16,000 to release more information, which is crazy. I think FOIA requests should be free. You know, I mean, this is evidence that's being used in the people's prosecution, yet these departments are asking people to pay thousands of dollars to get Freedom of Information Act information. There's got to be some type of grift going on there. There's got to be something untoward. I've never heard that before. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. It is what it is. But they have put things in this documentary that we have not seen before. There are videos, evidence, and documents and statements that we've never seen before, and we've been privy to that in the first part of this documentary, and now we're going to try and finish it out today, right? So it looks like we have maybe 40 minutes of documentary left, and we want to see what EW has to show us in this next segment of their documentary. So guys, appreciate everybody who's in the building supporting the channel. I want to give a big shout out to Princess Pillow, who's now a patrol member for the membership, and Jamie MP, who's celebrating 4 months of membership. She says, thank you for all your hard work and everything you do. Thank you so much, Jamie, for your support of the channel. So guys, we're about to get started. I just want to do some housekeeping stuff. If you are new to the channel, you just popped on this stream because of the algorithm, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. A lot of times people forget to subscribe. We're also going to ask you to hit that like button too. I can't even speak. I'm going to be choking on my own saliva. We're going to ask that you hit that like button as well, because the like button helps us by getting us into the algorithm. That's the only reason why we ask people to hit the like button. It serves a function to get the show into the algorithm so that we can be seen by a wider audience. Big shout out to Sylvie, who's a 6-month member as a patrol level member. We appreciate you. All right, so let's get it set up and let's jump right into this, because after this I gotta go do a few things, and definitely we have to do well with our time. We'll still do a call-in show too if time permits. We'll get to it. So let me set this up real quick, guys, and we'll get started. Let me move myself over, get this party started. Minor adjustments, people, minor adjustments. All right, perfect. All right, guys, without further ado, back to EW. Big shout out to EW. Make sure you go over to EW, subscribe to the channel. I mean, if you're a true crime aficionado, like most of us are, and you're not subscribed to places like EWU, then you're kind of missing out on the true crime experience, right? You're not really getting as much as what you could get if you enjoy this genre for entertainment purposes. So please do go subscribe to EW, and do me a small little favor. When you go to EWU and you hit that subscribe button and you comment in the comment section, please let them know that True Crime with Strategic sent you. I don't know them. They don't know me. They don't do collaborations. They don't shout people out. I'm not asking for that. I'm just a big fan of EWU, and I want to make sure that they know that I'm sending my supporters, because you guys aren't my fans. I'm just a guy with a mic, right? That I'm sending my supporters over to support them as well, and I would greatly appreciate that. All right, without further ado, 3, 2, 1, let's get started.
They also discovered that a password must be entered and that it's unlikely, if not impossible, to be done by accident. In the meantime, Jennifer explains that Stephan had an intense reaction to leaving his phone in the hands of the police.
So earlier that day, I think Detective Hunt came, or somebody came, and asked Stephan for his cell phone. If he would willingly give it up so that they can look at it, or if they would need a warrant. And I remember him saying, should I have asked a warrant? Should I have? And I'm like, no, if you've got nothing to hide, give him your phone. And I think we hung out in the house for a little bit, and then when you guys came in the evening, and you guys told us to wait outside, and we waited in my car, he started getting very anxious and very panicky, going, I want my phone back. I want my phone back. And I said, listen, at this point, it's their phone. It's theirs for ever. I don't give a shit. We will buy you a new phone. It doesn't matter anymore. Whatever they need, they need. Like, let them look at it. And he's like, I just want my phone back. And I'm just like, are you trying to make yourself more suspicious? Because, like, if you were to go demand your phone back right now, that would look suspicious as like, what are you doing?
What they would later discover hidden in the data would shock investigators and completely change the course of the case. Meanwhile, as Stephan's account of the day continues, he explains that he left the apartment once again around 12:30 in the afternoon.
I had a couple errands to run over on 192. She was talking about making a BJ shopping list. She just wanted to make sure I was back in time for us to both go pick up. So I was visiting some card shops around the area on 192. I'm kind of a nerd, so we had a new trading card game release, and I was seeing what the situation was with it.
Jennifer describes Stephan as an avid gamer who collects figurines, trading cards, and retro toys such as Tamagotchis.
Do you remember what places you visited?
Yeah, Coliseum of Comics. Stopped by a couple Targets, and I was going to go to House Rules Game.
I mean, I get like him like collecting stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, really. And I'm not gonna bash him for being an adult and into like retro games and stuff like that. But like when you see like the collection of Nerf guns and stuff, that's very juvenile. You know, what man is like, you know, like I get it. Like he had real guns and I get that. That's cool. Like, you know, I'm a 2A guy. You know, we all should be able to protect ourselves. But like Nerf guns and stuff like that, very juvenile. It's basically, it plays into what I've been saying for a very long time, that he was a man in, and this is my way of saying it, he's a man in arrested development, right? He's a man child, right? He never really was truly a man. And I really believe that he looked at himself being on the same level as Maddy. So it wasn't like, in his mind, it wasn't, I'm a grown man who's taking advantage of a little girl. In his mind is, this is my girlfriend. Like, we're both on the same level. We're both communicating on the same level. We're both operating on the same mental level. The only difference is, and the problem is, she's operating on the developmental level that she's supposed to be operating on. And he's the one who's supposed to be the adult, but instead he's acting like a child and at the same time taking advantage of a child. So that my observation is this guy is definitely emotionally and mentally stunted. I wouldn't say mentally stunted, but certainly emotionally stunted. He possessed average intelligence. He could hold a job, get a job, whatever, if he wanted to. He obviously didn't, but he is certainly emotionally stunted. Something happened to this guy when he was young, or maybe he was just born that way, that never allowed him or helped him clear that hurdle of going from childhood to adulthood. Let's keep going.
Games down by Oak and 192. I didn't make it that far. I got a flat tire on the way.
Between the factory phone reset and now the flat tire, the suspicious circumstances keep adding up. Jennifer continues, explaining what happened as the time approached to pick up Madeline from school.
2:30 rolls around, and I'm already calling Stephan, and he's not picking up his phone. About 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from him going, I just got back home. I left my phone home again. I'm so sorry. How long ago did you leave? And I said, about 10 minutes ago. He goes, I'm so sorry. I missed it. I really wanted to go with you. And I'm just like, it's fine.
Investigators attempt to pinpoint where the tire change occurred, but once again, Stephan seems to struggle with his memory.
Do you remember where you got your flat tire?
It was on 192. I pulled into one of those plazas somewhere.
Do you remember the name of the plaza by any chance?
Though investigators were unaware at the time, Stephan's flat tire would eventually be the key to a massive breakthrough in the search for Madeline. Meanwhile, Jennifer explained she went to the school to pick up Madeline, and more inconsistencies come up.
410 rolls around and she's still not out, or 409. And then at this point, I'm feeling the pressure from the cars behind me. I'm like, okay, they're all full. They're all waiting for me to leave and she's not here yet. So I take off and I'm thinking, maybe I missed her. Maybe I forgot to tell her I was picking her up from school today because I don't know if she knew that I wasn't working. So I left thinking maybe she walked. That's pretty close to school. Let me go drive back down, wait along the path she would walk, and just wait. And I parked and I waited. Maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. She still wasn't there, and I looked at the time and I'm like, okay, she should be back at my mom's office by now. Maybe she took a different path and I didn't see. She's still not here. And I'm like, that's really strange. And I think at this point I call Stephan and I tell him she didn't make it. She's absent today. There's no attendance of her at all today.
Later that evening, Jennifer, Stephan, and concerned family members met with police to report Madeline missing. Detectives noted several discrepancies in Jennifer and Stephan's accounts. Jennifer initially claimed she saw Madeline getting ready for school, later saying she only heard her. Curiously, she'd corrected Stephan on what Madeline was wearing earlier, despite initial statements that she never saw her.
White Crocs.
Either blue or black pants.
I think black shorts.
Black shorts?
Yeah.
Black shorts? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Additionally, a review of cameras near where
I never understand that. I will never understand why this woman would purport to know what her daughter was wearing, knowing that she never saw her daughter. And there's a lot of people that makes excuses for her. There's a lot of people that feel like, hey, you know what? She's a victim of grooming. She's a victim of trauma and all this different stuff. Hey, more power to you. Believe whatever you want. All of us can believe whatever we want. We don't have any evidence, at least, concrete evidence that says either way. But I'll tell you this. I believe that this woman was protecting this man. I don't have any evidence that she helped end Maddy's existence. I don't have any evidence of that, so I'm not going to say that. And I don't think I've ever said that. I don't have any clear evidence that she knew that Stephan was doing the things that he was doing to Maddy since she was just a little wee child. I have no evidence of that. But I feel like she was a willful participant in that. She said, hey, just go do your thing, and as long as I don't know, I don't care. That's what I get from Jen, And for people to pretend like she's like this groomed person who, it's not really her fault, I think that's disingenuous. And it's antithetical to the facts that we have at hand, because Jen had a lot of opportunities to show us that she cared. And every opportunity that she had, she showed us that she didn't care. Well, what if I don't want to charge him right now? Can I charge him later? What person says that when they get information that their child had been abused by their boyfriend for years? And they've seen pictures of that boyfriend literally doing horrible things to the child. And then they say, well, what if I don't want to charge him? Can I do it later if I change my mind? That's not an innocent person. That's a disgusting person who's trying to protect a monster. Or the Woody Allen effect. We had conversations about my child getting older and running away with him like Woody Allen. That was my greatest fear. I spoke to him about that. Why would you have a conversation like that with an adult male about your child when that child is not even at adult male's kin? Wouldn't that be a red flag for most mothers, most people in this chat to say, you know what, maybe I need to go separate ways from this guy because I don't really trust him with my child? There's so many red flags that Jen had, and Jen just did not care. But like I said, people could believe whatever they want. If they think that Jen, is innocent and she's just groomed and da-da-da-da, okay, no problem, it is what it is. But that doesn't mean that morally she was not inept. Morally, Jen did not live up to the standards by which we have all set as a society that she did her job as a mother. Morally, at the very least, if there's not enough evidence to criminally charge her or whatever, or hold her complicit in some of these things that happen, fine. But morally, she's a failure of a mother. Morally, she failed Maddy. And I'm just going to stick with that. I'm not going to be one of these folks out here trying to defend Jen Soto. If you want to do that, that's fine. It doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean that you're not smart. Doesn't mean that, you're disingenuous. Doesn't mean any of those things. It's your opinion. I get it. But I will not let her off the hook morally for how she failed Madeline Soto. Let's keep going.
Stephan supposedly left Madeline doesn't show his car in the area, and cameras capture him moving in the opposite direction at the time he was supposedly dropping her off at school. A license plate reader also captured Stephan 9 miles away in St. Cloud at the time he was supposedly heading toward House Rules Games in Kissimmee, where he disappears from cameras for approximately 54 minutes. With suspicious circumstances surrounding Madeline's disappearance, police prohibit Stephan and Jennifer from re-entering their apartment on the night of February 27th, 1 day following Madeline's disappearance. Jennifer's reaction to the news was far from what investigators expected.
I think at this point, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house, and
All right, so let's pay attention here, because I think that's going to, what they're about to say now is going to tie in with that little tirade I just gave. I think it's going to explain itself right now.
I said we couldn't come back. I told him to call his dad because I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. And I'm just like, they're focusing on the wrong person. They have the wrong person. In my head, I'm convinced you guys are just...
I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. Not you guys were going to frame him, or you guys was going to she said looking at the wrong person, but she said it at the wrong part of her sentence. That should have been the first thing she said. I had a feeling you guys were looking at him and he didn't do anything. That's what she should have said. That's not what she said. She said, I had a feeling you guys were working on something and you had something on him. That means that you believe he's guilty of something and you don't want him to get in trouble for it. That's what I take that as. But let's go back. Let's let her explain herself again.
Disappearance. Police prohibit Stephan and Jennifer from re-entering their apartment on the night of February 27th, 1 day following Madeline's disappearance. Jennifer's reaction to the news was far from what investigators expected.
I think at this point, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house and you guys said we couldn't come back, I told him to call his dad because I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. And I'm just like, they're focusing on...
She said y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. You're looking for your child. The only person that's important right now is your child. Not Stephan Stearns, not anybody else, your child. So whatever the police know is good news for you. Whatever information the police has that brings you one step closer to finding your baby is good news for you. I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him. So I told him to call his father and get an attorney. Come on, man.
On the wrong person. They have the wrong person. In my head, I'm convinced you guys are just... that you had the wrong person. I started saying to him, like, I think they're focusing in on you. Like, you need to call your dad and I think we need to get you a lawyer.
How did he feel when you said he needs a lawyer?
He didn't believe me. Like, when I told him, like, don't you see forensics is closing down the house? They know something, or there's something, like, they know something. Something's happening. They wouldn't be locking down the house this way if they didn't have suspicions of something.
On the night of February...
So once again, she's telling on herself. She's basically narrating for us that she believed that the police was getting evidence against Stephan Stearns, but she didn't want Stephan Stearns to get in trouble. That's why she kept giving him legal advice to go and seek out attorneys. This is horrible, guys. It's really horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. But yet, William J. said it's dirt under the bridge. Let's keep going.
February 27th, after the police seized Stephan's phone in their apartment, they booked a hotel with Stephan's dad, Chris, a retired Orange County police deputy. Chris will soon speak with police, sharing his own fears and suspicions about his son. Meanwhile, the following morning, Stephan's sudden absence from the hotel doesn't go unnoticed.
The following morning, I wake up, I think around 9 o'clock in the morning, and Stephan's not there. And I remember thinking, he left again without his phone and didn't tell anyone where he was going. That's suspicious as again. Why is he trying to...
Well, we took his phone, so he got a new phone?
He didn't get the new phone until later that day, where his dad woke up, came to our hotel room, and then handed him a phone. But he rolled in around 11:15, rolled in with a cup of Wawa, and said, oh, I'm so sorry, I was just driving around. I grabbed some Wawa on 182 and got lost. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel, but I'm here now. And I'm just like, detectives are about to show up. What the would have happened if they showed up and you weren't here? Like, you would have been a fugitive. Like, what are you doing? And he was just apologetic about not telling anyone where he went.
But I mean, he had a lot of luck out when he said he was up at 192.
Yeah, but in reality, I know that he truly took my car in the middle of the night to Northport, Florida, and was down there for an hour and came back.
Cameras capture Stephan leaving the hotel lobby at 4:35 a.m. in Jennifer's car. A license plate reader captures him again 1 mile from his parents' home in Northport, Florida, nearly 150 miles from Kissimmee, at 6:29 a.m. Investigators urgently speak with Stephan's dad, Chris, as their suspicions surrounding Stephan's activities solidify their suspicions about it being connected with Madeline's whereabouts.
Did he tell you he was in Northport today? I'm assuming he did it based on your reaction. Okay. So, you need to take a seat? Or?
No,
okay.
He was in Northport.
Yes, we have more than enough reason to believe that Stephan was in Northport today, at the exit that you take to get to your house. Our concern is we're conducting a missing person investigation.
Yeah.
Given the
Funny thing about Chris, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna be honest with you. Probably never hear from this guy again. But I'm gonna be honest because I don't care. I actually like Chris Stearns. I think Chris Stearns is a decent guy. I've spoken behind the scenes a little bit. I feel sorry for Chris Stearns because he's like a typical American guy. You know, work all his life, support his family. One of his sons is like a super American hero. Literally. Like, people don't talk about his oldest son, and probably rightfully so, because his oldest son is literally like a super American hero. Like, his oldest son could run for president if he wanted, and everybody in this room would consider voting for President Stearns if the presidential candidate was Chris Stearns' oldest son. On the other hand, his youngest son is a psychopathic, homicidal pedo. I feel bad for him, but I really feel bad for him because I think his wife is nuts. I really do. I think his wife is nuts. I don't know what he was thinking when he chose her, but she's nuts, man. But Chris Stearns is actually a decent guy. If you sit and you talk to Chris Stearns, he's actually a decent guy whose world is falling apart. And that's why I feel bad for him. Because, I mean, you go to work your whole life, try to support your family, try to keep your family together. Nobody's perfect. You know, people talk about infidelities. That's none of your business. Because everybody here has made mistakes and is fallible. So I don't care about that stuff, right? But you try your best to live a decent life, and then what ends up happening? Your child grows up for whatever reason and ends up being the most hated person on the planet. What do you do? What do you do? How do you deal with that? How do you process that? It's kind of crazy, man. But anyway, that's my take on that. Let's keep going.
proximity of that exit to your home, what we're trying to find out is if she's just hanging out in your house, you just want to get her somewhere safe, we want to put eyes on her, make sure she's okay.
Chris contacts his wife, who's currently at their house in Northport, to let her know that local police are on the way. Meanwhile, Chris theorizes that if Stephan were hiding Madeline, there may be another place worth searching.
They're going to come over and want to search a house for, apparently, can I tell them? Yeah. Apparently, Stephan made a trip down to Northport last night. Or this morning, I should say. I have no idea. But there's a storage unit, but he wouldn't have access to the keys to the storage unit because I have the only key to it. And that would have been locked in my car, and he would have had to come in my room, which he didn't have a key to get into it.
Chris cooperates fully, giving police permission to search his home and the storage unit in Northport for any sign of Madeline. Meanwhile, Chris describes a haunting suspicion he shared with his wife once they learned of Madeline's sudden disappearance.
When I left last night, I said, hey, I turned to her, I said, do we really know? You know, is he capable of doing something harmful to her?
Why would you suspect that?
Because some inconsistencies of phone calls he had with me didn't add up, okay? So I'll give you the sequence. He calls me mid-afternoon, 3-ish, maybe 3:45 or something, and say, I just had a flat tire. Okay, how the did you get a flat tire? You just drove over to Kissimmee. You took her, maybe you're running an errand, but where would you have gone to get a flat tire?
It was several hours later, around 5 p.m., when Stephan told Chris that Madeline never showed up for school. Meanwhile, Jennifer shares similar concerns about his activities.
Him disappearing to Northport. What the hell was he doing? That is suspicious. I mean, now that I know that that's where he went, that is suspicious as all. Why did he go to a storage unit facility? What was he grabbing? What was he trying to dispose of? Or what was he trying to hide in the... That to me is suspicious.
What Stephan was doing in Northport and how it's related to Madeline's disappearance will be revealed later. The home and storage unit are searched, but no sign of Madeline is found. In the meantime, Stephan is brought to the police station just after his return to the hotel on February 28th, unaware that his many lies are about to catch up with him.
What happened to your hand?
Flat tire.
So this is the part where, like, we literally have the worst interrogation I've ever seen in my life. The worst interrogation I've ever seen in my life. The most pivotal interrogation of this whole investigation, because this is finally where you confront the murdering, abusing pedo in his face, and you have to get him to tie in those loose ends. Even if you don't get him to give you a confession, you get him to put himself in certain places, you get him to identify his victim, you get him to do all the things that we like to do in law enforcement. This was the worst interrogation.
I haven't changed a flat tire
Give me a second while you guys watch this. My son is right here. I need to see what he needs, all right?
in about 10 years. I made a rookie mistake and had my thumb too close to where the jack and the frame meet. And it slipped, and the frame came down on my thumb and pinned it between the jack.
What about the other scratches?
Courtesy of a janky tire iron and the road.
Did you bleed at all?
Yeah, this one had some blood and this one had some blood, but not much. It clotted fast.
Do you know what?
Bring it back just a little
Pop your
bit.
tire at all?
I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. Obviously, I was just talking to my son, so I want to be up to speed with you guys. All right, second. Let's try this again.
I haven't changed a flat tire in about 10 years. I made a rookie mistake and had my thumb too close to where the jack and the frame meet. And it slipped, and the frame came down on my thumb and pinned it between the jack.
What about the other scratches?
Courtesy of a janky tire iron and the road.
Did you bleed at all?
Yeah, this one had some blood and this one had some blood, but not much. It clotted fast.
Do you know what? Pop your tire at all?
No idea. Tire just started going floppy and then
Pretty worn out or
way
something?
floppier and then just completely freaking separated. Thank God we had a spare and a jack. Janky as it was.
Janky.
So typically when changing a tire and stuff, you tend to get brake dust and dirty and all that.
Yeah,
Did you happen to...
positive that I breathed in some freaking brake dust or tire dust or something because I was coughing the rest of the afternoon.
Would you end up doing a cleanup or stop the bleed?
No, it's like he just plays off of the detective's words. So it's like, oh yeah, he said I have to have brake dust. Oh yeah, I breathed so much of it, I was coughing for the rest of the day. Like, he's definitely... He lies like a little kid. Like, you know, the detective obviously fed you that for a reason. And out of nowhere, you played off of the meal ticket that the detective just gave you. You played right into his hands because, you know, you're crafting your story based off of the conversation that you're having. Like, it's clear that you're being deceptive.
Bleeding and stuff?
Nothing, actually. Just
You didn't
went
get too
home
dirty?
and washed my hands and that was it.
Your clothes get all messed up and all, or...
Not bad, surprisingly.
What were you wearing, by chance?
This. I think still wearing this. I'm still wearing the same clothes.
Oh, so you kept pretty clean.
Try to, I guess.
Earlier surveillance footage showed him wearing a red shirt as he threw away items in the trash compactor, left the apartment complex, and returned with Madeline. However, when he's captured on camera at a smoke shop later that morning, his clothes have changed.
You weren't wearing a red shirt?
I was wearing a red shirt early in the morning. But I changed clothes later because that shirt was in a couple days without one. And the flat tire happened after that.
After further review of security footage from the apartment complex, Stephan was seen visiting the trash compactor multiple times throughout the day. At 4:35 p.m., around the time Stephan claims he learned of Madeline's absence from school, he's seen throwing away a piece of a damaged tire.
That tire is worn out. Real quick, I want to just give a quick shout out and just remind you guys to hit that like button. We have almost 500 people watching. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Just go to this screen right here. Big shout out to Fancy Clancy, who gave a 1 gift membership to some lucky person. Please make sure you thank Fancy Clancy. LG Rescues with a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, LG. I appreciate you. And Leslie gave a 1 gift membership to a lucky person. So please, once again, thank Leslie and thanks Fancy Clancy for gifting you guys memberships. We do appreciate you. Let me get back to the live chat now. And I appreciate everybody who's watching. Once again, hit that like button. Let's keep going. And that tire definitely was gonna, man, it's like Providence that this tire got a flat, because number one, the tire is not well taken care of, and you can see how it's eaten up on the sides. He literally ran this tire down to the threads. Like he didn't stop driving when he caught the flat. He kept driving on a flat tire, which resulted in it getting mangled like this. Let's keep going.
However, this wasn't the only thing Stephan discarded.
I'm too old to lie to people, too old to beat around the bush. And we seem like we're having a generally good conversation right now. Okay. The only thing that I ask for from you is, and I will reciprocate, I want you to be honest with me as much as I'm being honest with you. Okay. Nowadays, cameras are everywhere. Okay. So we see you cut the guard check. Okay. We see you go by the dumpster. Okay.
I may have taken some trash with me then.
What was in the trash?
House trash.
House trash?
Yep.
When you for school, did she have her backpack with her?
Yes.
She did. Did she have her school computer with her?
Yes. Presumably, yes.
Presumably. Okay.
She should have.
Once again, this goes back with the whole honesty thing. There was things in that trash bag that got thrown away that probably shouldn't have been thrown away.
Near the tire, a Hawaiian print backpack, school laptop, and 1 white Croc were found, all believed to belong to Madeline Soto. Stephan's story of watching Madeline walk toward the school with her belongings falls apart with this devastating discovery, prompting the detective to make a desperate plea for the truth.
Well, I can confidently tell you she did not go to school with her backpack.
How's that?
Because we found it in the trash. So, Stephan, here's what I'm asking you and pleading with you is to dig down and do some soul searching. I have kids, he's got kids. And this little girl's out there somewhere that we need to know where. And I really, really, really think you can help us. I mean, you want to get something off your chest. I don't know what it is, but I'm pleading with you.
I don't know. I don't.
Though Stephan continues to deny the truth, the evidence against him is mounting. Detectives are far from finished as they prepare to confront him with the jaw-dropping discovery from his cell phone, a disturbing revelation that will be nearly impossible for Stephan to deny.
What do you think was on the phone?
Text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Emails. Old stuff.
Pictures?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of pictures were on there?
Trading card pictures, lightsaber pictures, Disney pictures.
Do you have a Google account?
Yeah.
Do you save pictures to your Google account?
Sometimes.
Or is it automatically? I know sometimes phones sync to a cloud and...
Yeah, I think it backs up to Google.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes when you reset your phone and your phone updates and puts these apps back on your phone, sometimes they will put the images back on your phone.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you have
Oh, I assume so.
any pictures of you?
Probably. I mean, went to Disney, took selfies on the train. She got back from Puerto Rico and had her hair braided. We got pictures of that.
All right, so you guys know I just jumped back in because I was turning off the water. So I see they're at to the point where they're talking about like the pictures and stuff like that. But real quick, big shout out to Leslie, who is a 3-month member of the detective squad, the highest level we have for the membership. We do appreciate you. And Leslie basically thanks me for my hard work. And I thank you for supporting me, Leslie. So thank you so much. So I'm going to go back just a tad bit, just so I could catch up with you guys. And yeah, let's listen. This is a pivotal moment in this interview.
And your phone updates and puts these apps back on your phone. Sometimes they will put the images back on your phone.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you have
Oh, I assume so.
any pictures?
You know, what I didn't understand is why was he so unsophisticated in how he stored these images? Like, why would he put these images in the cloud? That I don't understand. Like, why would you put these images on Google? Like, why not store them locally, you know, or store them, you know, on the internet? I mean, on like a hard drive, or like he did have a thumb drive with 35,000 images. But I just didn't understand why he put this stuff in the cloud. He was just sick. I think he just, you know, I think I do understand it. He wanted access to this stuff when he wanted it, how he wanted it, exactly when he wanted it. That's what it was. He wanted access to it. He wanted to be able to be in Northport when he's not around her, to be able to access them instantly for his own self-gratification. That's exactly why. So I answered my own question. Access. He was obsessed. He's a dirty pedo. And he wanted access to that stuff instantly. All right, let's keep going. I figured it out.
Pictures of you?
Probably. I mean, went to Disney, took selfies on the train. She got back.
And listen to him. This is how a child talks. Literally, he took a selfie. He did it on the train. And look at him. He's a child. Look at him. How many mothers? Listen, my demographic for my show is mostly mothers. Mostly mothers between the age of 35 and 75. That's the demographics for this True Crime with Strategic. You guys are moms. Look at this guy. Look at him and then go upstairs, downstairs, around the corner and take a look at your 5-year-old boy. Look at him. Took pictures in the train, on the boardwalk. At Disney, we like Disney. With the hat backward like a little boy. With the oversized hoodie like a little boy. With his hands crossed like a little boy. Looking down, not making eye contact like a little boy. This man was a man in arrested development. This was a man-child. He was a man-child. Look at him. It's disgusting.
From Puerto Rico and had her hair braided. We got pictures of that. All sorts of pictures. Family events.
Any other pictures that you think of?
On February 28th, 2 days after Madeline's disappearance, The digital forensics team was able to recover hundreds of images and videos from the phone and a Google Cloud account. The images date back as far as when Madeline was only 8 years old.
Wow.
Though few images show Stephan's face, a unique black mark on his genitals would later match those seen in the photos. More discoveries would later come from his search history, with horrifying implications.
Here's where I'm going to be.
All right, before they go into that next iteration, I got to give a shout out to people who are supporting the channel. We have to. We need to support, and when people are generous, we have to show them love for being generous with us. A lot of our shows get demonetized. This part one of this show was demonetized for the first 6,000 views that we had. We had to manually appeal it. Guess what? We're not getting monetized for all of those 6,000 people who supported the channel and watched that video in the first few hours. There's no YouTube revenue coming from that. So the super chats help us out a lot, and we do appreciate the memberships help us out a lot. So we do appreciate it, and that's why I stopped the show. And I thank people who take the time to help me build this show out so we could be a force on YouTube and give a voice to the voiceless. So big shout out to LZB with a $2 super chat. She says, thanks for your hard work, Strategic, Aki, mods, and crew. Definitely big shout out to the mods who are showing love to the channel and helping us do this great show. Or at least we think it's a great show, but you guys be the judge about whether it's a great show. Ashley Larson with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Ashley. Big shout out to Leslie with a $5 super chat. Says, keep it up. Thank you so much. And Ashley is also a patrol member. So she just got a patrol membership, which is a mid-tier membership for the show, which is not cheap. So we appreciate you, Ashley. And then on top of that, Ashley dropped a $10 super chat. So thank you, Ashley. It's very kind of you. Welcome to the family. And hopefully you will feel that you get value for your support. All right, let's get back to the show now, guys. This is a pivotal moment now. This is when they're going to confront him with the CSAM, and then he says, "Can I get should I get a lawyer?" And he goes, "I don't know." The detective goes, "I don't know. I don't know if you should get a lawyer." I totally botched it and screwed it up, and ended up being the worst interrogation I've ever seen in my entire life at that moment. Let's keep going.
Be brutally honest with you. There's a phone. And I'm pretty sure you know what some of those pictures are about. You're a very intelligent person. And I don't want you to discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the.
All right, for those of you guys who are listening via podcasts and you're not watching, the people who are watching are currently reading something horrendous. I will read it out to you, highly edited, so that we don't get punished by the YouTube gods. While they're questioning him, EWU put an excerpt on the screen and it says, description, image file depicting blank, approximately 11 years, 5 months old. Stephan is inserting his blank into blank's mouth while she appears to be sleeping. That's the image that these officers are now describing of Stephan Stearns abusing this angel. Let's keep going.
Pictures that are on your phone. You understand what I'm saying? So do you want to add to the list of pictures?
No. Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
There we go. I don't know. I don't know.
I can't answer that question. My sole purpose right now is to.
First of all, you should have never confronted him with the picture like that. I would have never confronted him with the picture like that. You just asking for somebody to get a lawyer. You have to appeal to him. All real interrogators. I know we're gonna have some detectives that are watching this show, trainers, all that good stuff. I think they'll agree with me. You should never confront him the way that this detective confronted him just now. He should have appealed to this guy's morality, to what little of a soul he has left, and that should have been the route he should have took. Like, I know you know that there's more to these pictures, and I want to help you. I want to help redeem you. That's the route he should have went. We did a whole show on that. Go check it out. But I'm not going to rehash all the things that I said before, but that's where he lost this interview. And then when Stephan's asked, should he be talking to a lawyer, we had the discussion on this show, especially with attorneys who are writing in, etc. I said that that's not a clear invocation of asking for counsel. I said that, and all attorneys that have called into the show, and even attorneys that I know in the real world who are actively prosecuting cases, agreed with me that that's not an invocation. So what he should have did, what he should have powered through, he said, like, Stephan, I'm not here to give you legal advice, but Stephan, I want to talk to you about this, Stephan. Stephan, I want to give you the opportunity to tell me X, Y, and Z. I want to help you, Stephan. Help me help you, Stephan. That's what he should have powered through, but instead he didn't do that. He paused and he allowed Stephan to gain ground, and he allowed that attorney thought to keep festering in Stephan's head, a thought that was put into Stephan's head from who? From who? From Jen Soto. Jen Soto is the one who first brought the word attorney into Stephan Stern's world. Jen Soto's the one who put that thought in his head. Let's keep going.
See if I can find, and I'm really hoping you can help me.
Okay, well, I'd like to try to help, but I feel like I should probably have a lawyer present at this point.
Damn.
In a nearby interrogation room, Jennifer is presented with the distressing evidence. However, her initial reaction leaves investigators in shock.
We have his phone. We were able to get into his phone. And there are some very, very unfortunate graphic pictures with, I wish I could tell you this was all a made-up story, but it's not. Did you ever suspect anything like this? No? You okay?
How are you feeling right now?
I can't breathe.
Is this a surprise?
Is there photos of her?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you know how we have his phone? Obviously, that's how we were able to find the photos in there.
I don't want to believe that this is true. Can I see some of that evidence?
What makes you believe that it's not?
I thought I knew him long enough.
Though investigators insist the photos are true, Jennifer continues to ask them to show her the proof. Despite their concerns that the images may be too difficult for her to see, they ultimately reveal one of the images to her. Jennifer's reaction, however, will soon lead the detective to a chilling conclusion.
Oh boy.
So what do you think should happen to Stephan?
I'm afraid to say press charges, but what else?
I'm afraid to say press charges, but what else? Yet you got Jennifer Soto Stearns. My mind is thinking about Stephan Stearns. You got Jennifer Soto Stans out there defending this woman. You got people defending this woman. You got people fighting for her honor. Read what's on the screen. I'm afraid to say press charges, but what else? What else can I say? I don't want it, but what else can I say? And you got people defending this woman. Jeez, man. The world we live in.
There's a side of me that wants to say he's innocent, that this doesn't happen. Can I make one decision now and change my mind later?
There's a side of me. Let's go back.
Charges, but what else? There's a side of me
There's a side of me that wants to say he's innocent.
that wants to say he's innocent, that this doesn't happen.
That this hasn't happened.
Can I make one decision
Can I make one decision now and change my mind later?
now and change my mind later? If I decide not to press charges now, could
If I decide to not press, if I decide not to press charges now, could I change my mind and press charges later?
I change my mind and press charges later?
It's a lot to.
And then she inflects her voice at the end of that, like they're talking about buying a car. Change my mind later? Like they're not talking about the total destruction of her daughter from the inside out. Physically, mentally, spiritually. The total destruction of their daughter. Like they're not talking about that. Like they're talking about getting dessert at Chipotle. Wrong example. I don't think Chipotle has a dessert. I'm thinking Chili's. Like they're talking about going to Chili's. Cheesecake Factory. Can I get an apple pie later? Can I get a cheesecake later? You just showed me pictures of my daughter getting destroyed by a perpetrator, and I'm asking, can I press charges later? And you got people defending her. This is what you're defending. That is what you're defending. I dare say this might be a reflection of your own character. If you're defending those words, it's a reflection of your own diabolical character.
Digest. Okay, so I don't want to make you answer that right now. But when we come back, we'll talk more about it. She's our main focus.
That's where I'm at. I know that the acts happened, but I'm not convinced that he didn't take her to school. I'm not convinced that.
I know that stuff happened. Now she gives in and, all right, it happened. But regardless of all of the evil you've already showed me about Stephan Stearns, right? The two worst things you could do to a human being is take their life or grape them. Why? Because if you take their life, they no longer exist. It's over. You grape them, they live the rest of their life with trauma. This will never go away. It will never disappear. They relive that trauma every time they make love to the people they love. Why do you think people who experience this type of trauma always have issues in relationships? You rob them of intimacy. You rob them of the most personal thing that somebody can do, which is to share themselves with somebody else. You stole that gift from them. They got to spend the rest of their life trying to take that back, trying to learn how to take it back, how to heal, how to move on. It never goes away. They just learn how to cope. They just learn how to survive. That's why we call them survivors. You got me. You convinced me he did these things. But I still think he took her to school, and I'm not convinced that he's the reason why she's gone. So a whole universe of bad luck fell on Maddy. Because if we take what she believed, Maddy has been abused since what I believe 6 years old, since what the videos show 8 years old, but I think it's 6 years old. And I explain that all the time, so go watch my other videos. You see why I say 6 years old. If we go by what Jen Soto believes, at this point right here, she believes that Stephan Stearns has been abusing her daughter. And Maddy's so unlucky that after her abuser dropped her off at school in a place that she never gets dropped off before, according to her best friend, which is in front of that church, normally Maddy gets let off in front of school like everybody else. But not only does she get dropped off in a space that she never gets dropped off before, well, guess what? She also now gets kidnapped by the Mexican mafia, who now put her on a plane and is flying her to Monaco so she could be trafficked to some rich European oligarchs. That's what she wants us to believe. She thinks that her daughter was kidnapped and is now being trafficked. How unlucky Madeline Soto is in the eyes of her mother. In the eyes of her mother, her abuser had nothing to do with her disappearance. She was abused by this person. Maybe we should press charges, maybe not. Can I think about it and get back to you guys on that? I just want her back so she could come home and Stephan Stearns could still have access to her. That's what I want. And then I'll think about pressing charges. Maybe if he breaks up with me, I'll press charges. That's usually how that works. But she's so unlucky that she made Stephan do that to her. She's so unlucky. She seduced Stephan to make him do these things to her. And guess what? Now the Mexican mafia got her. Unbelievable. unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. But some of you are defending this woman. Big shout out to Jesse Golightly with a $9.99 super chat. Says, thanks for fighting for victims, Strategic. Much love from Memphis. Thank you so much for showing that love. And I think she also became a member, too. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Let me just show love to you guys before I move forward. Karen Bennett is a recruit. Thank you, Karen, for joining. Vicky Prieto is celebrating a 3-month membership. Of course, Jesse gave us a $9.99 super chat, and Jesse also became a member on the recruit level. Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you. This is wild, guys. This is wild. This is wild. Let's keep going.
He's the reason she's gone. Because if this had been going on for so long, what's the motive? Why Monday? Why that day? Why the day after her birthday when we were supposed to spend the entire week together and have such a great time? Like, we had plans. Like, we knew we were just going to be together that week and we were going to...
Jen, why did it start, period? You're trying to figure out why now? Well, the question is, why ever? You're asking the wrong questions, Jen. It's not why now when we were supposed to have so much fun. Oh, my God, this was such a special moment. Why her birthday? Why this? Why when we're going to spend time as a fake family? Why? You know, why ever, Jen? Why ever? Why ever abuse this child, Jen? That's the question you should be asking. Let's keep going.
have a good time, so I just can't think, like, why?
When you say what's the motive, what are you assuming?
That she was taken. Not that anyone that I know has done something to her, because I feel like nobody I know would do something to her, would hurt her, would murder her, anything like that.
She was taken. I told you guys, that's what Jen wants us to believe. She was just shown evidence of CSAM, of the worst, most horrific abuse of her daughter, and she cannot, in her right mind, accept what she saw. She still believes that somebody else took the child, and the person who took the child was not Stephan Stearns.
In addition to the photos, several items were located in a search of their apartment, including a firearm found in Stephan's room. In Madeline's room, a phone tripod was located inside a drawer, and a pair of men's underwear was found in a laundry basket. Police noted that a specialized light...
All right, that's important because a lot of people were saying that the tripod was set up. The tripod was not set up. The tripod was in the drawer. Tripod was not set up, and that was a big thing. People were like, oh, there's a tripod set up, and even I was like, there's a tripod in there? What? But really, the tripod was in the room, but it was in the drawer. Let's keep going.
Light source was used on Madeline's bed, and areas of fluorescence were observed on her comforter. Additionally, Madeline's school notebook was found and appeared to contain graphic depictions of sexual acts.
Yep.
The evidence is enough to charge Stephan with sexual battery, and after more evidence is collected by police, he is placed under arrest. The investigators are still looking for Madeline, and despite the overwhelming evidence of Madeline's victimization, it still isn't enough to convince Jennifer that Stephan had something to do with her disappearance.
We know what happened. What if he's telling the truth about dropping her off and driving away and driving around in circles and getting to the babe shop? Because I know there's banks around, right in that same plaza. There must, in an Am stop, there must be video of him pulling into that plaza and waiting.
What do you mean? What's your question?
If you guys have found evidence of him being in front of the store like he said he was, like it's possible that his story might be true and somebody else could have taken her. Like I'm just thinking, right, so like what if we're focusing...
So what she's doing is constantly making excuses for Stephan, constantly trying to find a way to say that Stephan is innocent. And this is atypical. This is not normal, guys. I've spoken to family members in the same situation as hers, minus the murder, because if it's murder, then we don't deal with that. That's homicide. But I've spoken to family members, and they don't make excuses like this. They don't make excuses. I got a juvenile right now that's missing. It's very sad. We believe she's a runaway, but we don't know. I hope it does not go to the level where this case went. But nobody that I'm talking to that's a part of her family is talking the way that Jen Soto is talking right now. None of them. Because people don't speak like this unless they're psycho, or unless they're part of the criminality. And I'm not saying that she is. Listen, when I say, why are people defending her? I'm not saying that we should lock Jen up. I would hope we could lock Jen up. That is my hope because I believe she's committed multiple crimes. But I don't want Jen locked up for anything that we don't have evidence of. If we don't have proof of it, I don't want Jen to get locked up for it. I don't want to live in a banana republic. I like our Constitution. I like our criminal justice system. I believe in these tenets of our society. And I want people only to be charged with what they could be proven that they did wrong. But people are kind of like muddying the waters as to how they defend Jen. There's a difference between saying there's no evidence right now that we can charge Jen with knowing that the child was being abused and the child's life being ended. I get that. But when you start making excuses for her behavior and you're saying that she's just a victim and she's groomed and all that, I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't understand why there's a double standard just because maybe she's a lady or something. Is that the case? I don't know. You're like, I thought she was an adult. I thought she was a functioning adult who knows right from wrong. So why are we giving her excuses for her bad behavior and her negligence? I'm not going to do that. I'm a true feminist. I believe everybody's equal. I'm not going to give her deference for her failures on Madeline Soto. I'm sorry. And I don't know if the reason because of gender or whatever that people are giving this lady a pass, you need to stop that because that's immoral. She does not deserve a pass. She may not deserve to go to prison. I don't want her to go to jail if there's no evidence that she should go to jail, but we should not let her off the hook for being a terrible mother because letting her off the hook resulted in Madeline Soto's, I can't say the word because YouTube will punish me, but you fill in the blanks. You fill in the blanks. I'm not letting her off the hook. She had a duty to that child. The moment she pushed that child out of her body, she had a duty to love, serve, and protect that child. And she failed that child on every single front. And if she got mental health and all that stuff, she didn't have to have a child. I know a lot of people who have serious mental illnesses, and they'll tell you when they're lucid, I'm not having kids. Why? One, I can't take care of them. And two, I would never want my child who will have a genetic predisposition for my illness to have to suffer with what I'm suffering. And I'm not one who would say that they shouldn't have kids. I'm not one of those people, but this is how they feel. She had a choice. If she felt like her life did not have space for a child, she did not have to have a fly-by-night child like she did with Tyler Wallace. She didn't have to do that. She chose to do it. So she had a responsibility to that child, and I don't want to hear any excuses about her mental health and all that extra stuff that's somehow supposed to absolve her for her duty to be a good mom. I'm sorry, man. You guys get me worked up over here. Let's keep going.
Like, okay, the sex things happened, right? But what if that's completely a side thing and not having to do with this, like her missing?
2 days after his arrest on March 1st, Madeline is still missing, and the detective once again confronts Jennifer, this time to share a troubling concern.
I think at a certain point throughout this relationship, you became aware of it.
She said the sex thing is a side thing. You don't think they got anything to do with each other. The sex thing is a side thing. Wow.
And for whatever reason, your reasons are your reasons, whether it was discussed that it would stop, whether it was discussed how it would go, that you feel some sense of guilt. A lot of the news statements you've given kind of, again, my opinion only, I don't speak for anybody else, whether it's in this room or out of this room, bother me. I feel like some of your sadness is not real sadness. I feel like when you gave the interview with Fox 35, it was not sincere.
Wow.
Looking at that video one time, I didn't feel like your cries were sincere.
He's going at her hard. I love Detective Kevin, man. Detective Kevin is the man, man. We showed nothing but love to Detective Kevin on this show. He is the man. I feel like and I'm not saying that you're a bad person. No, I'm reading, but he said before that, it's like your cries weren't sincere. He went at her. I love it.
And I'm not saying that because you're a bad person, but her going missing, her disappearance, if you have knowledge of how it happened, where it happened, an inclination, that emotion's not going to feel sincere because you're already aware of what happened.
I would.
It's almost becomes a lie at that point.
If I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the you want, but I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't.
Regardless of whether Jennifer was aware of the situation, the reality remains that Madeline hasn't yet been...
You know Jen is serious when she give you the robot hands, man. I will take whatever you want me to take. I'm effing serious. You're lying, Jen. We know you're lying.
Found, and uncovering where she is and what may have happened to her is still the priority.
We currently have upwards, probably 200 people working on finding. Anybody who is somebody is involved.
Yeah.
So, regardless of the circumstances, those people don't get to go home. Those people don't get to go back to their families. Those people don't get to live their lives and go back to their primary jobs. This isn't something that's going to stop or go away. I can tell you, and I know detectives expressed to you that the thought process at this point is this is a homicide investigation.
Yeah.
Based on the evidence I've seen, based on the videos I've seen.
Further review of the surveillance footage, which shows Madeline traveling with Stephan in the early hours of February 26th, leads detectives to draw a heartbreaking conclusion. They note that the slumped position with her head leaning is not a common sitting position, and horrifically, perhaps indicates that Madeline may not be alive.
Wow.
Additionally, footage captured in a parking garage shows what appears to be Stephan carrying Madeline from the front passenger seat to the trunk at approximately 9:41 a.m., the time when Stephan claimed to be meandering around while waiting for the vape store to open. Without her body, however, their conclusion is only a theory. Meanwhile, a startling admission by Jennifer will soon lead to a brutal confrontation by the detective, whose patience appears to be wearing thin.
Have you talked to Chris about Stephan needing a lawyer?
Yeah.
When?
I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos.
No.
The first thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer?
No. I knew that was true, right? That's evidence. That's for real. That's happening.
Once again, to the stands. To Jen Soto stands, all you defenders of this diabolical woman. She went to Stephan Stearns, to Chris Stearns, to tell them to get an attorney after she saw the pictures. Not before, after she saw the pictures of her child being abused. And you know who corroborates that? Chris Stearns. Chris Stearns corroborates it. He said, I thought it was weird. This is the father of Stephan Stearns. Chris Stearns says, I thought it was weird that she was just shown evidence that her child was being abused by my child, and she still decided to come to me and tell me to get him an attorney. Who does that? Shameful.
But I kept thinking, they're going... I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. Yes, he's done this to her, and that's not okay.
That's not okay.
But I swore she was still, I felt in my body she was still alive. She was still out there.
She's still alive.
I told Chris to get him a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person.
Chasing the wrong person, but you saw pictures of his pee-pee in her mouth. You saw pictures of that. How are they chasing the wrong person? He's almost 40 years old and he had his pee-pee in her mouth. How is it the wrong person? Explain that to me. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense, Jen. It doesn't make... They've got the right person, because even if Madeline just ran away to a friend's house, when they would have found Madeline, Stephan Stearns would have been facing the death penalty in Florida. What they found... I knocked over everything. Oh my God, I don't even know what I did. I don't even know what I did. Everything got knocked over. I'm sorry, guys. Let me come back and come back in. Sorry about that. Like a big ice water mess on the floor, the whole nine, because like I lost my brain and just like slapped everything over. I just went insane. Just went crazy. man, I'm passionate, man. This stuff pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie to you. It pisses me off. I'm sorry. Like I don't know how some of these YouTubers, they just report it like, yeah, today at this time this guy did this and Jen Soto did this today. Today in the news, Jen Soto didn't. Man, listen, I can't watch this stuff and not get pissed off. I cannot watch this and not get pissed off. I guess it's different. It's different when you deal with victims every day and you literally could feel their pain. Like it's almost like we act like we're not spiritual beings, ladies and gentlemen. We are spiritual beings. Sometimes when I'm in that room and I'm talking to somebody and they're telling me these deep, dark, shameful secrets, I could feel the energy in the room. I could feel the negative energy in the room. I could feel that pain pouring out of them. You could say I'm a weirdo. It is what it is. I don't play with crystals. I don't do none of that stuff. I don't got no dolls or no Santa Maria. I don't do none of that stuff, okay? I'm a regular Christian guy, but I got to tell you, man, sometimes you could feel that energy, man. You could feel that energy transporting between us two people as we are talking about something that literally is the epitome of evil. And I got to tell you, I can say, well, maybe Detective Kevin will set me straight because I still want to talk to him one of these days. Detective Kevin, I hope you're watching the show. I want to know, when you're talking to Jen and you're hearing her dismiss this child, you're hearing her make excuses for this monster, did the hair on your arms and on the back of your neck stand up? I want to know that from Detective Kevin. That's all I want to know. Did you feel the negative energy? Because I think we are so scientifically inclined that we're trying to act like there's nothing spiritual about this world. There's nothing esoteric about this world. Like we don't share a common energy as human beings. Sometimes I feel that energy, man. Let's keep going.
But you weren't.
Because you offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know.
Her replies to the details about the severity of Madeline's assaults appear to be the final straw for the detective, as his confrontation grows more heated.
You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what the did he do? Hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stephan.
Right.
I was in shock.
No, that's not shock. That is your natural instinct to protect Stephan.
Right.
I don't know why.
Love this, man, because what he did was he shouted out the obvious. You shouldn't have said get him a lawyer. You should have said, what did he do to my daughter? Angie Bowden with a $10 super chat says, I absolutely love this channel. And we absolutely love you, Angie. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for everybody who's being generous. I guarantee you, once this show becomes live for everybody else, the live is over, YouTube is going to make it demonetized. I don't know if they'll remonetize it later. Sometimes they'll grant our appeals, but it's going to be demonetized because we're talking about the topic that we're talking about right now. So we do appreciate the super chats. Thank you for supporting the channel, everybody who's able to do that. Man, listen, he pointed out the obvious with this woman. If I would have found that information out, I wouldn't even be focusing on the missing anymore, because I'd like to believe that the child is just ran away. I would never want to believe that the child is gone. As a parent, you want to have that hope. So really, all of my focus would be on the abuse, because I would have hope that my child would be found. So I would just be focusing on the abuse that I just saw with my own eyes from these detectives and be like, oh, I want justice. Where's he at? Lock his ass up. Let's figure out what's going on here. This lady didn't care. She said, yo, go get a lawyer. They're looking at you. I saw a picture with your pee-pee in my kid's mouth. You should get a lawyer. It's not looking too good. It's disgusting, man.
I don't know why I said that.
But that's the problem. You don't know why. Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes.
I know.
Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof and you acted like it didn't exist.
Yes.
And knowing the victimization, knowing how ongoing it is, knowing that you saw a picture of it, not just us telling you, not me and him saying, hey, listen, he's being, I think they had a bad relationship. They showed you a picture of it.
Right.
And you still protected him.
Yes.
So how am I supposed to not think that the thought process in your mind is until she's found, Stephan can't be charged with murder? Because we both now know that you don't want him to be charged with murder because you want him to have a lawyer.
Amen.
No, I don't. That was
oh,
then.
He can't be charged with murder.
That was then. Everything that you guys have shown me since then and have shown me that he's
So we have to
lying
show you a
this whole
picture
time?
of her dead in a car for you to finally not take his side?
Despite his theory that Madeline is deceased, they've yet to locate any sign of her remains. If their devastating theory is correct, the question remains, what motive would Stephan have to end her life?
What do you think made him snap?
Now we go to pregnancy. So we go to pregnancy, where Strategic Eye has been saying from day one, hey, I think pregnancy was a motive, and people got so upset. People denigrated me. People doxed me. People got mad at me just for being a detective. Just giving you guys what we do on my day job. Just working through this case like I do any other case. The motive is probably pregnancy. He's having unprotected intercourse with this child for years. She's now going through a menstrual. There's a good chance she's going to get pregnant. And people got pissed off over me calling out the obvious. Oh, she's Maddy. Why would you want to denigrate? What are you talking about? We're true crime. We're here talking about true crime cases. What are we doing here? Well, let's listen to it.
I don't know. Theories, I keep hearing
Tell me your theories, because here's the deal. We don't go home until she's found.
No, I know.
So what are your theories?
What I've heard is, what if she upset him and threatened to tell me and say that she was going to tell me and he needed to shut that down? That's the only thing.
What do you think?
I don't want to believe he killed her. But from what you guys are telling me, he must have killed her Sunday night and snuck her body out in the morning. That photo you guys showed me of her stuffed in the car.
You don't want to believe he killed her.
I want to believe she's still alive and that she got kidnapped, but that doesn't seem like that's the case at all.
Yeah.
I know, my brain just wants to believe something else. I just want to believe she's still alive and she's out there.
Explain your reasoning behind those assumptions and we'll move forward day by day.
So he had access to benzos and I think Lunesta.
What are those? I'm not familiar with that.
Let's see how she just bounces around from emotions, man. I mean, whatever. Big shout out to Sherry Gotcha. Big shout out with a $5 super chat. She says, hashtag arrest Jen Soto. I hear you. Let's keep going.
So diazepines are anxiety medications which relax you and can make you sleepy.
Okay.
And Lunesta, I think, is a sleeping medication, like for insomnia. So I don't know if it's possible he gave her something and she was drugged. In those photos that you showed me where you're saying she's dead, maybe she was drugged. But if she is dead and it was done upstairs, I could just only imagine that he choked her. I don't know how else you would kill someone and not leave a mess.
Horrifically, a search for the medication sevoflurane was discovered in Stephan's Google account on February 12th and 14th. It's described as a volatile anesthetic that provides hypnosis and amnesia and is most commonly used for surgical procedures. An additional search was made to determine whether or not the medication would show up in tests. Still, based on what he's seen, the detective isn't willing to entertain the idea that Madeline was merely sleeping.
We know he killed her. We know he drove out of there Monday morning. We know he discarded her backpack in the trash dumpster.
Yep.
We know he discarded her laptop and one shoe, right? So all her property was discarded to look like she's gone. That way he doesn't have evidence with him.
Right.
But then you have all these suspicious times of when he's left and come back and he's gone here and gone there. So what do you think he was doing on all these suspicious times? He's roaming 192. What do you think? Knowing what you know now we can play. You know she's dead. You know that we've given you information. What do you think, knowing what you know, he was doing on 192? He was doing here. He was doing here. He was doing in Northport. What do you think?
So him leaving early in the morning and driving around aimlessly somewhere. I feel like he stashed the body at that time. When he came back and then left again.
She knows a lot because that's exactly what happened, but let's keep going.
But see, it's daytime. Like, how could you move a body or move something in daytime and not be seen? But like, I feel like he went back to check to make sure he did a good job or to move the body again.
How can she even talk about her child like that? She keeps saying the body, the body, the body. Never Madeline, never my baby girl, never my daughter, my child, just the body, the body. She's talking about the body like how medical students are taught to talk about a body and detectives are taught to talk about a body. Why do they teach you to talk about a body like that, a cadaver or whatever? It's so that you don't get emotionally connected to it, so that you could do an autopsy on an infant, so that you could do, you could work a crime scene with a woman who's dead in the middle of the floor, or a guy or whatever, or a child, so that you don't form that emotional connection. It's like, well, the person no longer alive is just a body. She's talking like a professional when she's not supposed to talk like that. She's supposed to talk like a mother. She's supposed to talk about somebody who cared about this child. She's talking about this child like she's a coroner. Red flag, man. Big red flag, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know.
Detectives would eventually discover what Stephan was doing in Northport, along with a shocking discovery which will be revealed later. Still, Stephan has 54 minutes of unaccounted for activity in the area of St. Cloud, 9 miles from Kissimmee. Jennifer, however, claims she has no idea what he may have been doing there on the morning of February 26th.
I didn't think he ever, even knew where St. Cloud was because we've never driven down that way ever.
So you live in Kissimmee, right?
Yeah, I know, but to me, he's never had a reason to ever drive down to St. Cloud. Ever.
Investigators continue to pry information from Jennifer, unaware of just how close they are to a major breakthrough. For now, Jennifer poses a dark and twisted theory for where they might search for Madeline.
If I were him, and I had to stash a body, but I would never do this. My mind would say to go to Lake Toho. There's a lot of woods there, there's a lot of gators.
Like I told you, it's going to come to a point where we will...
All right, somebody says, do you think they separated the essay and the murder trial so they could offer Jen immunity to testify in the essay and charge her with Maddy's death also? You can't do that. You can't give somebody immunity from one trial and then they're not immune for another one that's related. You can't do that. That would violate, the immunity agreement. So Jen is not testifying in this trial unless she gets some form of immunity, ladies and gentlemen. Unless she gets real immunity, not derivative use. Unless she gets transactional immunity, she's not going to testify in this trial. They could call her to the stand, absolutely, but she'll just plead the fifth. All of this stuff is admissible in court. All of these statements she's made was made to police. This is all going to be in the trial. So if she tries to testify on behalf of the prosecution, the defense is going to make her look like she's the murderer based off of her own statements. The defense is going to say all right, well, you know what? We can't disprove that Stephan Stearns abused Maddy. We have pictures of him. So we're just going to make it seem like she was helping out. And based off of the statements she's made, it is easy for a defense attorney, especially at the caliber of the attorneys that's representing Stephan Stearns right now. They're pretty good attorneys. It's easy for them to make her look like she knew or should have known and participated in the abuse of Maddy. It's easy for them to do that to Jen Soto. She's going to get on the stand and she's going to say, I plead the fifth. And since she's going to plead the fifth, they're not even going to call her as a witness because it's not going to make sense. Mark my word. 2 things is going to happen with Jen. Either A, she's going to get transactional immunity and she will testify on behalf of the prosecution. Or B, she's not going to testify at all. That's it. Can't put her on the stand. And you can't put on the stand her attorney. She has an attorney. She's being represented by her own attorney. Her attorney would never allow her to get on the stand and testify in one trial with some type of immunity that doesn't exist right now because no attorney would agree to to that type of immunity, where she gets immunity for the SA trial but not immunity for the murder. Let her come testify for the SA trial and then leave her out in the wind for the murder trial, and then use all her statements, everything she said, to use against her in prosecuting her. Furthermore, we have to take into account, ladies and gentlemen, we need to take this in account, that William J. told her that all of her lies that she stated before was dirt under the bridge. They weren't going to prosecute her for it. Even though the derivative use immunity was just for that interview, he gave her, in my opinion, transactional immunity for what she did in the past. That's what he gave her in a preamble leading up to the start of the derivative use interview. When he's telling her about her rights and telling her about the interview, in my opinion, he inadvertently gave her transactional immunity because he told her, my office is not going to charge you for all those misstatements that you made in the past. That's what I don't get. Like, 50% of the lawyers that contact my show agree with me and understand what I'm saying, and then another 50% don't understand, and a whole bunch of lay people think they know better than people who actually are in this business. Oh, no, Strategic is this. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a cat groomer. Huh? That's what you probably make more money than me being a cat groomer, but you're not a lawyer and you're not a detective, but you're telling me what the transactional and what the derivative is. Make it make sense. Please do. On the lead up to the derivative use interview, while they're sitting there talking on audio recording, the guy pretty much gave her transactional use immunity. He pretty much gave it to her by saying, we know about all these mixed statements. We know that you made contradictory statements and you lied. We're not going to charge you for it. He said it. You heard it with your own eyes. If you don't believe me, go listen to it again. It's not exclusive. It's not on people's Patreon. It's not gate-kept. You could go find it on my channel, Plunder's channel, Grizzly's channel. It's all over the place. Go get the interview, listen to the interview, listen to William J. clearly tell her he's not going to prosecute her for all of the lies she told, like lies she's told here. But some of you don't want to listen to your ears. I guess they're lying ears to you. That's why you don't listen to them. Your own ears lie to you. I don't know. I'm so corny. Anyway, let's keep going.
Volusia County Sheriff's Office just found somebody the other day that's been missing for a long time. People get found. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not quick, but we will find her. What you need to think about is, when you find her, is there an opportunity or a chance that we are going to prove that you did not assist us to your full capability in this investigation? And if that is true, you need to think about the consequences of that. Consequences of hindering a murder investigation or a capital sexual battery investigation could be punishable up to probably the same charges, the same time in jail. I know you know that I don't believe what you're saying. I know you know that I think you prioritize Stephan, but you prioritize jail. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we come back and prove that you sat in the room and misled us, that you didn't lead us in the right direction, or that you assisted, or you acknowledged, or you knew, you're getting warning from jail.
If I knew anything, I swear I would tell you.
At 4 p.m., just minutes after Jennifer's interrogation comes to a frustrating end, a call reaches detectives about a witness who claimed to see the suspect vehicle and a man fitting Stephan's description changing a tire near Hickory Tree Road, the location where Stephan disappeared from cameras in St. Cloud. The witness reveals the exact location, where locked gates separate the road from an area of private property. The property owner gives police permission to enter, and horrifically, tucked inside a long expanse of bamboo trees, Madeline's body is discovered. She's found wearing a green-colored sweatshirt and blue jeans, and her body is covered by pieces of what appeared to be hay or dry grass. The bottoms of her socks are clean, suggesting she was carried.
Absolutely.
Records would also reveal the sickening purpose of Stephan's trip to Northport while his family slept at the hotel. According to police records, at 6:34 a.m., just after arriving in Northport, Stephan attempted to log into his Google account. It was later that Chris discovered the hard drive for Stephan's computer had been removed and placed in a bin at Chris's storage facility. He handed it over to the police, where it was found to contain over 35,000 explicit images of children. In a call between Chris and Stephan recorded from the jail, Stephan is confronted with
the problem with Stephan. He's so stupid. They probably would have never found. That wasn't Stephan Stern's storage locker. That was his father. They probably would have never found that CSAM. They would have never. I mean, listen, they had enough already with just Maddy's photo. I think 1,300 is Maddy's. There's like 1,300 photos and videos of him abusing Maddy. But they had enough there for a capital case. But they would have never found the additional 35,000 videos and images if he never went back to Northport. He's such an idiot. He's dumb.
Grim reality of a long future behind bars.
The penalty for the crimes you have been charged with carry a minimum 40-year sentence. So obviously we're going to be gone. We'll all be gone.
Right.
We're sad about that, obviously, because there won't be anybody here for you when you come out.
Yeah, and I'll be lucky if I have another 40 years left in me either, so.
Yeah. I wish there was a way that, you and I can
that he thinks he's getting out. They think he's getting out. Dude, you're never getting out. They're going to give you life in prison, bro. I mean, I would say the death penalty, but we know Florida got the death penalty, but that don't mean they're going to give it to you. We saw what happened with the school shooter. I always forget his name. What's his name? Every time, I always forget his name. The kid who shot up the school, man, he got life in prison instead of the death penalty. Somebody help a brother out in the chat. But anyway, let's keep going.
have a conversation. All of us could have a conversation.
Cruz. Nicholas Cruz. He was supposed to get the death penalty, but guess what? They said he had a tough life. One of the jurors, we played it, the juror was like, he had a tough life. His mommy died, and he got adopted by somebody, and they tried to give him a good life, but he just couldn't get shit right. So, yeah, don't give him the death penalty. He had a tough life. Yeah, they had tough lives. Oh, hell no. Keep going.
Conversation to understand what's taken place, how this came about, how you arrived here, because it would help us better understand the situation, because we're at a loss for understanding how all this came about. I mean, we're just totally baffled.
Well, I didn't start it.
Okay. You didn't start it, but you participated in it, which is just as bad as not starting.
He didn't start it. I still want to know what that means. What secrets do you have, Stephan Stearns? We want to know them. I still don't know what that means. He always said, I didn't start it. So what does that mean, Stephan? What exactly does that mean? You didn't start it? Well, who started it? So some people think that he thinks he's going to say Jen started it. But I've always said from the beginning that he's not going to say that Jen started it. He is a homicidal, disgusting, degenerate pede. He's going to say that it was Madeline who started it. Because all those peds, they all say that their victim is the one who asked to be victimized. So that's who he's talking about. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he'll come out and do his attorneys. He'll try and blame Jen Soto. Listen, I'm not God, all right? I have the God voice, but I'm not God, all right? I do believe that he probably, when he makes that statement, is blaming Madeline Soto. Let's keep going.
But that's for another day.
Obviously, I can't get into specific details or anything, but, I mean, if you'd like to schedule a visit with me or something, maybe we can find some way to talk.
I don't know. I think we're always going to be recorded, so there won't be an opportunity to do that.
A later autopsy would rule Madeline's cause of death as strangulation. Though an exact time of death could not be determined, investigators believe she was deceased before she was taken out of the apartment and was killed either the night of her birthday party or early the following morning. The footage of the young girl seen wandering away from the church Monday morning was not Madeline, but an unfortunate coincidence that the person on camera bore a similar resemblance. Stephan is being held without bond and is currently facing multiple charges, including 13 counts of sexual battery, 7 counts of lewd molestation, 39 counts of unlawful possession of obscene materials, and first-degree capital murder. On April 26, 2024, 37-year-old Stephan Michael Stearns entered a plea of not guilty. His jury trial is set to begin on September 22, 2025, where prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty. He currently awaits his fate at the Osceola County Jail in Kissimmee, Florida. Jennifer has not been charged with any crimes related to the disappearance or murder of Madeline Soto.
Right. Man, good show. Good show, man. Wow, guys. That was deep. That was definitely deep. Let me bring this over to me. Sorry for the delay. Bam. I want to take some calls. We'll take 4 calls max, and then I got to get out of here and get ready for work. So 4 calls max. If you're interested in calling, please call in. Let me hear from you guys. You guys are amazing. Wow, that was a really good documentary. I think they really put the story together really well. And we're grateful for it because there's a lot of people who's new to this. And, you know, this documentary, I think, is a really good way of understanding Madeline Soto's story. And for those of us who's been following this story religiously, I think they did an excellent job. And I even learned some new things, and I saw some new things that I've never seen before. So here is the phone number, ladies and gentlemen. It's pinned. I'd like to hear from you. Please call into True Crime with Strategic. Let me hear what you guys have to say about this unfortunate, horrific story of abuse. All right. Phone number is 518-639-6283. 518-639-6283. The lines are open. We are willing to take your calls. Fisher Blue says, great job, Strategic. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Nobody calls in. It's all good. We'll just get the hell up out of here, right? A lot of people watching today. 771 people currently streaming right now. 771 people currently streaming. Please do hit the like button. What's up, caller? Welcome to True Crime with Strategic. What's your name and where you calling from? Can't hear you, caller. All right. We're going to have to hang up on you. Oh, there we go. There we go. How you doing, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Marcy, and I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
All right. Welcome.
And I have a question.
You have a what?
Thank you.
Couldn't understand you. You have a what?
I have a question.
Okay,
I
go
have
for
a
it.
question.
Go for it.
If Stephan Stearns goes to court, well, he has to, but if he includes Jennifer in the helping of murdering her daughter, will she be charged?
If he has evidence of it, remember, now you have a homicidal, diabolically disgusting pedo pointing the finger at somebody else. You got to have some evidence of that. So if he has evidence that can prove that she participated, yes, she could be charged with accessory to murder.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I sure hope he could give them a lot of details and include her, because I feel in my bones she had to have helped him, because why would her daughter's shoe be in her bedroom and one on her daughter when they found her?
It's true.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling,
Yeah.
caller.
Thank you.
All right. Got to go to the next caller. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome to True Crime Strategic. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Patrice. I'm from California. I started not to use my actual name. I'm so sorry.
You did what? Used your real name?
I started not to use my actual real name, but
It's
I
okay.
just wanted to say that, I love your coverage. I really appreciate everything that you're doing for this case, getting it out there, getting it in people's, making people aware, pointing out the different details and everything associated with it, because I feel like that's really important. My biggest issue with this case is the fact that I'm a person who suffers with some of the same mental illnesses that Jen Soto suffers from.
Okay.
But I would never use that as a crutch to allow something like that to happen. I feel like she's using her mental illnesses as a crutch. Like and that's what I don't like. And that's what I don't appreciate. Like, I'm a mother. I work full time. I hold down a job. I take care of my family. I take care of my children. I live a normal life. And to just merely be like, oh, well, I needed a good night's rest that night. Ma'am, like, I went to sleep at like 2:00 yesterday morning, and I'm calling on my lunch break. Like, we get up, and I made sure that my kids went to school. I knew exactly what they were wearing when they went to school. I knew exactly what my oldest son is 18. I know exactly where he went this morning. We know it, like, so I can't fathom how something like this can happen under somebody's roof for the amount of time that it happened. It doesn't even make sense to me. Like, and, you know, and I've been with my partner for 15 years. We don't even live with each other. I would never allow him to be in the same bed with my children. Like, if he spends the night, my kids are not even in the same room. We have gone on vacation and we have got conjoined rooms for our children. They are never sharing a bed with us. I don't understand. Like, and so I get that there are people who sympathize with, you know, we have to give her grace. She has mental illness, but as a person with mental illnesses, no, there are some things that still doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I don't, and so I want your opinion on that. And, you know, just, you can't use that as a crutch. Like, you can't excuse that away.
Right. I agree 1000%. I do agree. And, you know, listen, you can have whatever illnesses you have, and some mental illnesses are more debilitating than others. But the moment that you decide to bring a child into the world, your focus is on your children. And I'm not going to allow any excuse for somebody who's brought a child in the world and was not doing their best to protect that child. Thank you so much for calling, caller. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good caller. What's going on? Welcome to the Strategic Eyes Show, True Crime and Strategic. What's your name? Where you calling from? Person just hung up. You could call back again. Yeah, that caller made a really good point. Like, yeah, we all struggle with things. You know, some of us struggle a little bit more than others. But like I said, the moment you decide to be a parent, the moment you decide to bring another life in the world, you have a responsibility. What's going on, caller? Welcome to True Crime and Strategic. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Sarah. Morgan, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I just wanted to, on a different note, thank you for being such an incredible teacher. I think that is where part of your passion lies. Not only are you good at your job, but all the different ways that you break it down, whether it's EWU, they always do a great job, but all the different ways that you try to teach us how the real world works, how this applies in the real world. I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. Appreciate you for your support. And it's good to hear good things sometimes.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
All right, cool. That's all you got for me?
All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
That's all I got.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Very nice of Sarah. Sarah's so nice. We do appreciate it, man. Thank you. You know, it's good to get a pat on your back. You never know what people got going through. Like right before coming on here, I got screamed on by mommy about getting a car for our daughter. She railed into me because I was supposed to fix the car out there and I didn't fix it because I forgot. And it's like, oh, you forgot. And Like, you don't know what people's going through, you know? So it's nice to hear good things from people. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you. What's up, little buddy? So turn the water back on? All right, hold on. I'm live, guys. So people can hear everything you guys are saying. All right. Let me wrap this up, guys. I got to go handle business. Guys, stay down here. I'm going to come deal with you guys right now. I see you guys on the next one. I mean, please consider becoming a member of True Crime and Strategic. I wish we could have stayed a little bit longer, but I got stuff to do with the family. I also got to get ready for work. Consider becoming a member of the Patreon as well. The Patreon is popping, ladies and gentlemen. The Patreon is very, very good. Get exclusive content on the Patreon. I really appreciate you guys. And please send me articles and stuff to to strategiceyes@gmail.com. Aki will put it inside of the description. If you have any young children, any women, any men, whatever, who have been victimized by sexual assault, that's my expertise. Please do send me an email so I can cover it. All right. I see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.